introducing the actual verbal cue for the place command. The requirement is that she can do a food lure and that she's done the food lure onto the place cot to the point where Leia, 9 out of 10 times, if I've got something in my hand, I can just swipe my hand over it. Yes, and she goes straight into a sit and then stays there. In this case, she likes to go into a down. That is not specifically a requirement, but it is a requirement. She can get into it. Yep, like that when I swipe my hand over it. Yes, good girl. All right, break. We've been starting to introduce that, which is her release from the command, and we'll talk about that more in a second. But to introduce the verbal cue, the new cue comes first and then the old cue. If the cues happen at the same time, then you're not introducing any meaning into the new word, because for her, the word place means absolutely nothing. Yeah. She says, I have no idea what that word means. We have to assign it a meaning, and that starts from absolutely zero. So the very first thing we do is we use the thing that we've already introduced to her to get her into that command. So the new cue has to come first, separated from the old one, to introduce that meaning. So, Leia, place. Yes. Good girl. Break. Good job. Do the same thing again. We've still got food in our hand to introduce it. Hold on. She knows exactly what's happening next. She's predicting the pattern. So now we just have to add something else to the pattern. Place. Yes. Break. So she's learning in terms of patterns and what's getting reinforced. So we also have to be very careful of what specifically we're reinforcing. Place. Yes. Good girl. Break. Beautiful. And she's even holding eye contact that whole time. I know there's more food over there, but you actually get this food. That's for later. So, you're doing your little limp again, girl. Oh. You bumped your head? Okay, let's move that from out there. We're gonna move this somewhere else. Yeah. We'll do one more. Place. Yes. Break. And then we'll take a break for a couple minutes. We don't want to do too many things all at one time because that reduces her motivation. So we get a couple quality reps in. Quality always beats quantity. I would rather 2 reps where she's, yes, please give me, I want to do that thing because I want that reward that you have. I really, really, really want that. Then 50 reps where she's like, okay, fine, I guess. Thanks, that was great. All right, bye. I would rather those 2 reps that are fabulous than 50 that aren't, that are mediocre. Hi. So, what ends up happening is this is 10 or 20 little sessions throughout the day with little breaks for her to process, for us to play. Hi. plus making sure she's got enough consecutive hours of sleep. Dogs need about 18 hours a day, which is a lot more than people think because we keep them up all day. We tend to, while they're sleeping, come by and pet them, or the doorbell rings, or something happens on the TV, or there's so many different things going on that they don't get consecutive rest. So that's also something important to include in their day. Leia, sit. Yes. And she's getting a lot of attention as we go to tying your things down. She's doing very good at that. Good stuff. Briefly mentioned talking about release from yesterday. I actually did. So I work with and I stay at all of my commands. So for sit, down, place, this will all be a stay until you release. That way you don't have to add and complicate the command when using the word stay, because if you're asking her for something, you should be asking her for something for a purpose, not just asking her to sit or down because. You're asking her for something, you're specifically giving her a task to do, which means your job is to hold her accountable for that task. No, where's my melon? I'll show you how well she's doing the distance using already. So we work on verbal cue on distance, but we can add another verbal cue. Leia, place. Very good with that first number. As you can see, she's figured out that that direction marker means she's not going to get promoted if she does that specific behavior. Break. That's really good. Good job. You can do all the run detection after our command, and that's if she wants it. Sometimes she does, sometimes she doesn't. teach it as communication as opposed to exclusively correction. So in this case, the leash can go in and use a consistent pull as, hey, I need you to move this way, and then a pop as an actual correction. We'll go one more thing on how to get around that. And see probably more as we get but just backtrack it. So dogs have what's called an opposition reflex. So when something pushes on them, their brain tells them to push past it. So when they feel pressure on a leash, on their neck, or on a harness on their chest, their brain goes, I need to push into that. I need to go further, I need to go harder, I need to get past that. We have to train her brain to do something else. Teach her what we want out of it. And that's where food comes in. We're building new pathways in her brain. Everything we're doing is. Since you start from season, I know you want to lay down all the time. I know. Lay down. We're going to make it really easy to relax. I've got some dogs that I've had that I can't relax around even there with me. They're too excited. And we'll go play and exercise and we'll do all of the actual things that they need. They just struggle silently with me too. Not a whole lot of complaint. I know, I look up on it. Unless you have anything to do outside the house today, because there are some spots that season available. When she releases, not when she gets skinny, when she releases the tension is when she gets rewarded. And do it as a release. Right? Yes. I'm doing that with no. The second I add pressure down, good. She actually wants to. So she wants to lay down the second I add pressure down. You notice she paused. I'm like, no, I'm going to place that. I'm going to pull it back. And she's like, well, you already wanted to lay down. Oh. Maybe I will. That's usually when it takes a while for us to get her done because they want to fight it. They don't want to make that position. And now they're going to get her to continue to move as it is. Just taking a step to the side. And the important thing here is I'm never pulling her. The goal is that she's learning what to do with the tension. So I'm only holding that tension for her to feel it, and that's it. And this is how it's considered that she needed to do this. If we get to the point where we stress her out, then we stop. And that is clearly not the case. In this case, she's not there for a reset. It's never a harm in resetting if something just isn't going right. As long as it's not happening every time, in which case you definitely need to look at what you're doing as a human as opposed to what they're doing. Cool, we're going to work on this outside later when she wants to stand up a little bit more because she's all done already. She's all done. All right, so we're working on leash pressure, walking up and down the driveway. So one of the things I'm doing is when she's adding leash pressure, all we're doing is we're stopping. When she releases it, her reward is that we get to keep moving. If I add tension, I'll reward her for releasing tension with food. Good girl. So, we're adding positive reinforcement for the behavior that we do want her to do, And when she's adding the tension on her own, which is what we don't want from her, we're adding negative reinforcement because we're taking away what she wants to do, which is keep moving. Sorry, I'm trying to talk and keep track of her and keep the leash off the ground so that it doesn't get tangled in her feet. Good girl. So I'll add a little bit of tension. Yes! And reward when she releases. Good girl. So we want to avoid by having it so that when she pulls and releases her own tension, she gets rewarded. We want to avoid creating a habit loop that we don't want. So in this case, her goal is to get food. So she's trying to figure out what actions or what sequence of actions can she do to get food. Secret trick if you need to roll up a long line easily. Good girl. Just step on it if you don't have enough hands. There we go. All right. Keep you out of the way of the car, little lady. So she's trying to figure out what actions or sequence of actions can get her the desired result, which is food or exploration. So if her adding tension triggers her releasing tension, which triggers food, then she figures out that pulling is the start of that sequence, and we don't want her to figure that out. We want it to be tension on the leash means communication from us and something that she should avoid trying to do. She can get to the point of tension on the leash, but then she should release it because that's what helps her continue motion. Hi, baby. Then, like I said, we give her long periods of not asking her for anything in a row. We'll add a little tension. Yes! I barely have to pull the leash at all, and she's like, hey, whoa, I'm coming that way. You're pretty smart, girly. She's a, yeah, I am. I'm such a good girly. All right, let's keep walking. And then the other thing we can do with least tension is, Leia, come. Yes. Hey. You smell something more interesting than my food. I asked her for too many things in a row and too distracting of an environment. She got here eventually, so we'll take it for right now. Reward what I can get at the moment, and then up the criteria pretty fast. That will not get her rewarded in 2 days. But once she understands leash pressure, we can hold her accountable with the leash and say, hey, I need you to come, and her actually understand what the leash is trying to get her to do. Oh yeah, gotta get that air scenting in. The bunnies use these tunnels all the time, so all the dogs love exploring them.